Sup gamers, JP coming at you with a Story Up review here at Story Up Games, where story reigns. Today we're discussing the very polarizing Virginia. I'm just gonna come right out and say it. Virginia was a weird game. And right after I finished, I had to find out what people were saying. Before I played, I didn't look at any reviews. I knew very little about the game. I just went for it. But as soon as it was over, I needed to know what people were talking about. It seems the game has pretty mixed reviews. I'd say mostly positive, but definitely mixed. And the first thing that defenders of the game seem to say is it's not for everyone. Now, one part because it's known as a walking simulator in some circles or an interactive drama, that kind of stuff doesn't scare me away. I actually quite like those games. But second to that is that the last third of the game leading up to the end becomes super convoluted. Now, typically you'd think that having a lot of questions at the end of a game, wanting to know what other people are saying is the sign of a good game. I don't necessarily feel that way, and we'll get into that in a second. In Virginia, you play as FBI Special Agent Ann Tarver, and you partner up with another FBI agent, Maria Halperin, to locate a missing child. But also, you're tasked with investigating Maria for some reason that's unclear to me. And with these interactive dramas, the way the game works is you're just walking around certain locations, pointing and clicking at certain objects and moving through the story in that way. One of the boldest creative decisions in this game is that the game has no dialogue. So you're actually being told the story through your interactions with the other characters and their reactions to the things you're doing in the game. But it is a super linear story. You don't have any control over what happens, and you're really just taking it all in. Now, I will say that this is one of the most cinematic experiences I've had this year. The game effectively uses these jump cuts to transport you between scenes, and at first they're very welcome and cool, but toward the end of the game there was some points where the pacing wasn't so good, and I'd find myself just sitting around waiting for the jump cut to happen. It'd be clear that there was nothing for me to do in this scene, and yet I was just stuck here waiting for them to cut. It actually became kind of laughable and silly as I was sitting there saying, all right, where's the cut? Let's go. It's also a little disappointing that with this game in particular, there isn't a whole lot to do in every scene. Like, you're pretty clearly shown who you need to talk to or what object you need to locate every scene you go through. And I know that the creators did that because they wanted to keep the pacing tight, but it really didn't leave a lot for the game player. Two things that most people seem to agree on with this game is that the music is phenomenal, which is definitely necessary in a game without dialogue. And I agree, the music throughout really punctuated certain scenes. It really amped up the intensity and the tension in certain scenes, so the music, fantastic. The other thing people seem to agree on is the art style. The art's very pretty in the game. It's consistent throughout. I'd say the art looks great. Now, it's story where it seems like people are divided. Some people love the story and other people really don't find it that great. Let me explain. The creators have said the game is inspired by things like the X-Files and Twin Peaks, and I'll have to admit I don't watch a lot of the X-Files and I've never seen Twin Peaks. Now, with that said, I still feel like the third act of the game, the story that we've been working on, completely falls apart. Or maybe falls apart isn't the right word. At the beginning of the game, we have the story of the missing person, the investigation of your partner, but by the final third, the game throws in a whole bunch of unexpected elements that are frankly kind of silly, and I understand that that's kind of the thing with X-Files and Twin Peaks, but it really doesn't work in a game that needs its story to be great, especially because I was invested in those first two acts. I was curious as to why we were investigating our partner. I was curious as to the location of this child or why the child's missing, and those things aren't really resolved. And I know this was intentional by the creators of the game. They have a letter at the beginning that states that they hope that you're confused at the strangeness of this game, but I really don't feel like it does the gamer any justice. I do like that certain aspects are left open to interpretation, but I think the creators could have done a better job with having a more cohesive story, and I don't think that the things they did at the last third of the game really work. Here at Story Up Games, we don't give review scores, we just let you know if a game is worth your time from start to finish. And for Virginia, which only takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours to play, I'm gonna go with you can stay away from this one. I really didn't feel satisfied as the credits rolled, and I wouldn't put my recommendation behind this one. If you're one of the people that just love Virginia, let me know in the comments what you think about the last third of the game, what your interpretations are of certain elements throughout. And as always, like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel so you know when we go live, and I will catch you on another time.